Hello Solar Eclipse Timer users, this is Dr. Telepan again. This video is part 2 on the subject of how to think about a solar eclipse that requires traveling a long distance. Part 1 analyzed the 2024 USA eclipse. This video will compare and contrast the 2019 and 2020 eclipses that cross South America. Let's see which one wins. First contact in 60 seconds. How do you decide if it's worth traveling to an eclipse that requires traveling internationally? Let's quickly review the 6 big categories to consider. They are weather and cloud risk, totality duration, travel logistics, image planning, vacation interests, and your personal schedule. The first 3 are the crucial ones. Think about it like balancing a 3-seat seesaw. The weather, and specifically the cloud cover prospects, is the most important consideration. You do not want to travel halfway around the world and get clouded out. So you choose an eclipse and an observing position that has the best weather prospects. Remember, it is better to see a short totality than get clouded out of a long totality. The second thing to consider is the totality duration. You want to have time to enjoy all aspects of totality and take pictures. It will go by very quickly, so certainly longer is better. Remember, your duration is dictated by your position on the path, which in turn is dictated by the cloud prospects, which in turn is dictated by the third category, travel logistics. Travel logistics include all of the details: cost, accessibility to a good position in the path, supplies, lodging, restrooms, and safety. You are trying to balance and sort out these 3 crucial variables to make a decision to travel to an eclipse. So again, weather first, totality duration second, travel logistics third. The first eclipse that I was able to get to was in Zambia, Africa in 2001. That's a long journey, but let's get on the seesaw. It was a June eclipse in the middle of the dry season for that region, so it had an extremely low cloud risk. It was a 3-minute and 35-second totality, which is a long eclipse. And although it's a long international flight, the main airport in Lusaka, Zambia was in the path. The main roads from Lusaka to the center line were good, and it was a safe and stable country. So the decision ends up being a yes. Go. A fourth thing to consider is your photography. International plane travel will limit the amount of gear you can bring. Is it a low eclipse or a high eclipse? These present different challenges and opportunities, and you have to plan your gear accordingly. A fifth thing to consider is making a vacation of it. If you are traveling internationally to an eclipse, you are likely using a professional eclipse tour. They want to make the trip worthwhile for their guests, so the trip will last many days. It is an opportunity to explore and enjoy another country. Professional tours will be set up like this. They will have 2 tourist groups on opposite schedules for the tourist interests. One group will arrive early and leave early. The other group will arrive late and stay late. But both groups will meet together on eclipse day at a combined eclipse observing site. This plan spreads people out for the tourist attractions and also spreads out the use of hotel rooms, but lets everyone see the same tourist attractions. If you have a choice, choose the shorter time before the eclipse. There is less traveling around with all of your crucial gear before eclipse day. And if you have a successful eclipse, you will be more relaxed for the tourist attractions. A sixth thing to consider is your own personal schedule and the date of the eclipse. Does it fit in with work, school, hobbies, holidays, and other special occasions in your life? What I just reviewed pertains to the decision-making process for considering all international solar eclipses. So now let's apply the analysis to the 2019 and the 2020 South American eclipses. Category 1, starting with weather and clouds. The July 2019 eclipse is in the middle of the winter in the southern hemisphere, and the path at the center line varies in latitude from approximately 29.5 degrees to 37.5 degrees south. The December 2020 eclipse is in the middle of summer in the southern hemisphere, and the path at the center line varies in latitude from approximately 39 degrees to 41 degrees south. Very roughly, the 2020 eclipse is about 500 miles or 800 kilometers more south than the 2019 eclipse. Jay Anderson, who is a Canadian meteorologist, is the go-to guy for eclipse predictions. His website is called Eclipsophile. It is where I am getting the cloud statistics for this video. The initial thing to consider is both of these eclipses hit the western coast of Chile about 12 degrees apart in latitude, and therefore that coastal section of the path for both is affected by the Pacific Ocean. Jay discusses the semi-permanent high-pressure system that is located at about 30 degrees south in latitude. This is the high-pressure map for 2019, and you see its location. Now this is the high-pressure map for 2020, and you see it's similar. Observing right next to the coast is risky for both eclipses, since the percentage of days of cloud cover is 52% for 2019 and 45% for 2020. That is a very similar risk, so most eclipse chasers will not stay on the coast, especially in 2019, because it is such a low altitude eclipse. In 2019, almost everyone is using the coastal city La Serena as a staging city. Then they are moving inland on eclipse day, like to Vicuna. That position decreases the percent cloud cover to about 38%. In 2020, just inland off the coast, Teodoro Schmidt is as good as it will get, with a 45% chance of cloud cover. When these two eclipses hit the border of Chile and Argentina in the Andes Mountains, the terrain and roads will limit the travel options and observing positions for both. At this point, the cloud conditions appear to be worse for the 2019 eclipse, but this eclipse has such a low altitude, it has the risk of mountains obscuring the view to the west, so 2019 eclipse chasers will have to be very careful in the mountains. The 2020 eclipse is high in the sky, so mountain peaks will not be an issue. Then both eclipses reach the plateaus on the east side of the Andes Mountains. This is the best area for having the lowest risk of cloud cover for both eclipses. Here both eclipses have a cloud cover risk of about 30%. This is a relatively good number for success on eclipse day. Soon after this position, the path of the 2019 eclipse will be ending, as this is a setting eclipse at this point. The eclipse will be very low in the sky, adding to the chance of cloud problems. The 2020 eclipse will continue across Argentina to the Atlantic coast, and the cloud prospects remain relatively good for this portion of the path, with cloud cover in the 35 to 40% range. The 2019 winter eclipse has a temperature range across the path from approximately 0 to 19 degrees Celsius or 32 to 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Since this is a late afternoon eclipse for basically the entire path, I would expect to have the more moderate temperatures at the start, with cooling towards C4. It could be cooler in the higher elevations. The 2020 summer eclipse has a temperature range across the path from about 6 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius or 42 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Since this is a middle of the day eclipse, with the point of greatest eclipse being in Argentina, I would expect the temperatures to be in the warmer range except for the higher elevations. So neither of these two eclipses will present extreme temperature conditions, and both are subject to variable local winds depending on conditions on eclipse day. So if I were to summarize the first category for traveling to an eclipse, weather and cloud prospects, I would call 2019 and 2020 as even. Let's talk about category 2, totality duration for these eclipses. This is actually quite interesting. The 2019 eclipse actually has a very long totality duration at the point of greatest eclipse, 4 minutes and 32 seconds. But unfortunately, that occurs about 2,000 miles off the coast of Chile in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. When the eclipse hits the coast of Chile, the totality duration is 2 minutes and 32 seconds at the center line. And even when reaching the east side of the Andes Mountains, where the cloud prospects are the best, the totality duration is still a respectable 2 minutes and 25 seconds. After that area in the path, it will be very low in the sky as it becomes a setting eclipse. The 2020 eclipse has the point of greatest eclipse on land, basically in the center of Argentina. Therefore, the path is centered over the narrow landmass of the continent, and this makes the geometry and the timing fascinating. Even at the point of greatest eclipse, the maximum duration of totality is about 2 minutes and 9 seconds. But because the length of the path is centered over the continent, and South America is so narrow here, when it hits the coast of Chile, totality is only about 1 second shorter, at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. This is true when it leaves the coast of Argentina. The timing is the same. This is due to the symmetry created by the point of greatest eclipse being in Argentina. So, if I were to summarize the second category for choosing an eclipse, totality duration, these eclipses are almost even, but time in the umbra is precious, so another 15 to 20 seconds of totality, if cloud prospects are considered equal, would make the 2019 eclipse the winner. The third category to analyze is travel logistics. Either of these two eclipses should have similar overall costs. It seems that both eclipses will require flying into a major city like Buenos Aires, Argentina, or Santiago, Chile. From there, taking a domestic flight to a smaller town, followed by a drive to get closer to the path, and then driving into the path on eclipse day. It seems like lodging close to the path will be similar in quality. I am not familiar with exact conditions on the ground, but looking at the maps, it appears that the network of local roads for 2019 are more limited in Chile due to the mountains, but more abundant and crisscrossed in Argentina. In 2020, it seems to be the opposite. The network of roads is more abundant in Chile and very sparse in Argentina. This is important for having flexibility on the ground if last-minute weather conditions require moving your observing position. However, repositioning is virtually impossible with big tour groups because they will want to go to their pre-planned observing position where they have arranged for food, water, bathrooms, and shelter. They have limited flexibility to move dozens of people around. If I were to summarize the third category, travel logistics, I would say that both of these eclipses are about equal. The fourth category is eclipse image planning. Both require international and domestic flights, so the amount and the complexity of the gear you can take will be limited. The 2019 eclipse is a low-altitude eclipse. At the coast of Chile, max eclipse is 13.8 degrees above the horizon. On the plateaus east of the Andes, max eclipse is about 11 degrees. Therefore, you must track the sun path in the sky at a steep angle. An eclipse at this low altitude is both stressful due to cloud risks, but very exciting due to potential photography shots. A low eclipse gives you the opportunity to frame the fully eclipsed sun with interesting foreground subjects. Also, you have all seen the illusion of the full moon appearing larger just above the horizon. The angular diameter is the same as when the moon is overhead. It just seems larger and more dramatic on the horizon. Can you imagine the sight of totality close to the horizon? It will be spectacular. The 2020 eclipse, because of its latitude and the fact that the point of greatest eclipse is in Argentina, is an extremely high in the sky eclipse. It is 72.7 degrees above the horizon at the point of greatest eclipse, and just over 71 degrees at either of the coasts. That is high. That is 10 degrees higher than my setup for the 2017 eclipse. That will be a challenging setup. So regarding image planning, I believe that 2019 is the winner. The fifth consideration is making a vacation out of the trip. Here I believe that both eclipses are roughly equal. Both will give you the opportunity to spend a day or two in the big city with the international airport. Both will give you the opportunity to get out to the small towns and experience the local culture. Both have different but unique and beautiful landscapes and sightseeing opportunities. For me, the 2019 path has the advantage of two things. In Chile, the path takes you close to the large observatories in the mountains and therefore provides my tour group with the opportunity to visit the VLT. The path in Chile is about 400 miles south of the town of Antofagasta, which we will also visit. This town is next to the Tropic of Capricorn and provides the opportunity to stand on the tropic at the beautiful Tropic of Capricorn monument, and I can't wait to do that. So regarding the vacation interest category, I would say that overall both of these eclipses are equal, but considering my personal preferences, because of the observatories and the tropic, 2019 is the winner. The sixth category is the time of year and scheduling for Northern Hemisphere folks. The 2019 eclipse is July 2nd. For most of us, school is out for the summer, so it takes the problem of missing school or college classes out of the equation, which is a huge benefit. It's just a better time for a family vacation. The 2020 eclipse is December 14th, basically right at exam time for school and college and right before the rush of the holiday season. So basically, it could not be a worse time of the year for most families. So regarding the scheduling category, 2019 is the winner. So let's look at the results. Weather and clouds, it's equal. Totality duration, 2019 wins. Travel logistics, it's equal. Image planning, 2019 wins. Vacation interest, 2019 wins for me. Scheduling, 2019 wins. Now you see how, in my opinion, the 2019 eclipse provides really strong arguments for an eclipse to travel to, and I am excited that I am going. For me, since the weather, clouds, and logistics are equal, the summer schedule, the imaging opportunities, and getting to the Tropic of Capricorn and a big observatory are huge factors. So that's how you do it. That's how you analyze an eclipse to see if you should travel a long distance to get to it. The weather is always the big variable, unless you know you are traveling to a known dry season or an arid landmass. I hope you found this discussion useful. The additional suggestion, if possible, is that you do not limit yourself to a single observing area. Poor weather could alter your plans, so have alternative sites. I am happy to say that the new release of Solar Eclipse Timer, version 2, is now a free download with in-app purchases for eclipses. So it is ready for 2019 and 2020 right now. Also, I really want you to get to the path. But if you can't, the new version of the app will now time a partial eclipse over the entire continent of South America. My YouTube channel has videos about using the new version of the app. Thank you for watching this Solar Eclipse Timer episode. If you like my work and you find it helpful, please subscribe. But more importantly, let others know about this channel by sharing this video. Please give a thumbs up and post comments. More eclipse information is available on my website. Thanks again. I appreciate your time.